Well, hello, my beautiful peoples. As you know, I am BJuicy, but today with me I have my best friend in the entire world, Ice Cream Jar.
Hoi!
I'll be calling her Ice throughout this production, and she will probably be calling me B.
Yep.
And if she forgets, she'll get a little censor.
I'm very honored to be in your video.
And today, what we're doing is we're drawing some furries based off of some, strange animal species. I made one based off of a muntyak deer and a tufted deer.
Mine is one based off the dragon-headed caterpillar, specifically the two-tailed pasha, as well as the bird called Hotsun.
We really hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's hop right into it. Alright, and we are going to do a coin flip real quick to see who is going to go first. Ice, what's your coin going to be? What side are you picking?
Tail for furry.
Okay, and the coin is in the air, and it's tails, so Ice is going to go first.
Oh boy. This is my dragon-headed caterpillar. Also, its specific species is known as the two-tailed pasha, which is also known as the foxy emperor. There are over 400 different types of dragon-headed caterpillar, so I had to choose one. And the theme I decided to go for both of my characters, which shall probably become apparent as you watch, is Buddhism.
Interesting theme.
And specifically, it is Shinto Buddhism, which is a Japanese religion. And the reason I picked this is because the dragon-headed caterpillar, plus a special characteristic of Hotsun's, just made me think of that sort of thing, and I just went for it. Yeah. As you can see, I struggled a lot with line art, so that's fun to see. Originally, for the character design, I love having things on horns, so I had planned to put chimera on the horns, but I didn't think it was fitting because I've only ever seen them on sumo wrestlers, so I didn't do that, and I changed it to an amori, I believe is how you say it, which has many meanings, but specifically the one they're wearing is for good luck because they want to spread good fortune to those around them.
This is a very thorough reference sheet.
I thought we were reading for. You can see a lot of editing, so I take really long on line art, so most of this video will be line art.
It's because instead of sketching, she just erases her line art.
It's because then I see it incorrect and I'm like, oh, that looks wrong. So I edit it and then start drawing over it a bunch of times and trying to fix it. As you can see with that head reference.
You could do that with a sketch.
Yeah, but no. I realized it too late and then I was like, that looks weird. So you can see a lot of struggle with proportions and making things look correct and trying to make sure everything makes sense because I was like, they have these special things on the back. Ugh, they have stuff under their clothes. Ugh, you can't see what their face looks like. So I started having to draw a couple extra things to fix that.
That makes sense.
And you'll especially see this for the coloring. I struggled a lot with what their body looks like, the green part. So you'll see that change a crap ton throughout this.
Since mine were mammals, I feel like they were a little more straightforward than a bug.
Yeah, it's really hard to draw bugs and make them look correct. I tried to be very, anatomically correct, but especially with the head, you can tell that I deviated from that simply to, make them look a bit more understandable or fun, as well as the hands and such.
Just to be clear, we did each pick our own species. I didn't pick two deers and then demand that she drew a bug.
Listen, I just thought they were cool and then it happens. How can you pass up a really cool looking dragon bug? It's just impossible. One of the pieces of lore I came up with them is that they purposely rejected pupation to stay as a caterpillar to better pursue their spiritual wants. I don't know how furries tackle caterpillars or children who change like that, but I imagine that caterpillars are usually small, like children, so this caterpillar will be pretty big, about the size of usual adults.
I do like you describing furries as some monolith with consistent lore.
Well, there is a big group of them, so I'm sure that there is some consistency, or at least general things.
No. We can't even decide if they wear clothes or not.
Fair enough. As you can see, I named them FURRIES, and I don't know why, but I felt that they were they them, so that's what they are.
It's true, that's how pronouns work.
For both of these characters, they're wearing similar clothes, but wrapped around their waist to help decorate and hold up their kimono is an obi, and specifically, the bow is tied in a butterfly style. You may notice from the coloring, it's supposed to represent what they'd look like if they did pupate and become a butterfly, and the specific colorings those butterflies have, which is also why the bottom bow looks weird and was edited. They are mostly anatomically correct, except for such as their hands, the pattern on their back or their head. But that pattern on their back was a struggle to do, so I thought it'd look better like that.
And then of course you covered it all up.
True.
This is my tufted deer, or my character based on a tufted deer. I am going to call him Wire because I actually decided on a cyberpunk theme, which I feel like is a lot easier than trying to base off an existing culture. So tufted deer, as you can see at this point in the speed paint, have a little tuft, a little mohawk on their forehead, and they also have kind of vampire fangs. I think that Wire is pretty young, perhaps in his early 20s, and he wants to be part of this resistance in this definitely very fleshed out cyberpunk world that I put a lot of thought into, for sure. And so he's like really into it, but he is kind of naive and he's a little excitable, and he's not exactly the best suited for this operation, I guess, but he is very passionate, and he does use he, him pronouns. As you can see, though, I didn't write his pronouns or anything, or his name on the sheet itself. I just kind of drew him. I didn't do as well as Ice did, I guess.
No, you did great. I really liked your story, and they really feel like that and fit inside the world that you wanted them to fit in, or him to fit in.
Thank you, Ice. That's pretty much all I have to say about it, and the speed paint was short, so yeah.
I like them. Are you ready? Oh frick, don't look! You saw nothing! You saw nothing! You saw nothing! Close your brain, it's like Endgame, you saw nothing. Now we are on to mine, the Hotsun. As you can see, I struggled a lot with fitting them onto the canvas, cause I kinda realized birds, they're very long if they're expected to fly. Their wings, they're like twice the height of what they are.
This is knowledge you had.
I know, but it's still a struggle to fit them onto the canvas. And also they have sucky feet, which are very weird to draw sometimes. As you can see, they're also wearing similar clothes to what FURRIES was, but of course different and modified.
And they got the pretty eyes.
They really do. They got very strange faces, but are very nice faces too.
This is incredibly bird.
It very is. As you can notice, you can see I'm drawing numbers. Both FURRIES and the Hotsun are wearing something that's called a 108 mala bead bracelet or necklace. It's made out of 108 beads, which is used to count prayer, and is in Buddhism is representative of the 9 human imperfections or issues that prevent someone from reaching full spiritual enlightenment, like envy, jealousy, or such like that. So I tried very hard to count them.
Jealousy and envy are the same thing.
Yeah, I know. Probably, yeah. One of my initial ideas for my Hotsun is when they're young, they have literal claws on their wings, like dragons or bats. But when they grow up, they lose them when they grow older. The claws are used to help climb up trees or cling to branches, and originally I was planning to give my Hotsun metal prosthetics that would resemble these claws, so it'd help them climb up to his temples and such. But after some deliberation, I decided against this because it just sounded really uncomfortable to wear on a wing.
Probably.
On their head, that's wrapping around their head feathers, that band is like a couple ribbons that you'll see the colors soon enough. Taking inspiration from shrine maids and what they wear on their head to resemble purity, as well as many kami and spirits or gods in Shinto. On their kimono, you can also see that I drew little ropes along the bottom area because I imagine their whole side of their kimono has ropes so they can easily get their wings in and out of it, as well as keep it on and comfortable.
I see, like laced up sleeves.
Yeah, because I don't know how they'd be able to get their wings out without hurting some feathers. Their obi, as you can see, has another different style compared to Volius. It is specifically called the eagle plant, which is supposed to resemble a plant that looks like an eagle, and I just thought it was fitting because bird. You also get to watch me spend several minutes going through all my line art and sharpening the lines because I don't do that usually using the brush, and I like going through so you can see the better direction of the lines as well as making them a little thinner.
It's because Ice is a freak who draws with her mouse.
Hey, I use a tool to draw with my mouse. I also am drawing another thing, which is a box that they can wear around their torso to better help them carry things, because they don't got hands. They need help doing that.
Oh, it's true, no hands.
And I don't think they'd want to carry something in their mouth all the time.
They do have feet, though.
But then how they walk? That's another issue.
When they fly, I meant.
Another reason why I was planning to give them that prosthetic on their wing is because Hoatzins, from the way they're literally built, struggle to fly. Like, they fly like drunkards. They can't really fly that well because their breastbone that connects to their wings is way further down because of how they eat and process food.
Interesting.
Hoatzins, they eat leaves, put it in their crop, and ferment it before it goes to their stomach. Because of this, they burp a lot and are often called stinky birds. I read somewhere that the specific dragon-headed caterpillar I picked for Volius ate things such as, I think it was like fermented fruit or rotten things such as that. So you could technically, if that is still true, call these both like a stinky trio. Or a stinky duo. And now you get to watch me struggle to do patterns for a while.
True.
So many colors, man.
Yeah, there are several.
Probably also noticed that I was doing the color picking spot weird. I just kind of like doing that so it's easier to tell where each color actually sourced from and where it goes. And now you get to see the name, Stupus. I didn't mean to make it sound like it's saying stupid, but it's Stupus.
Uh-huh.
Just for you awesome viewers, the reason I picked those two names is they're a mix between their scientific name as well as Vulpes. Because I had taken inspiration from the fox god Inari for both of their thoughts and designs, so that's where Vulpes comes from. Yay!
And this is Love, L-U-V. And she is a Muntyak deer. It also has tusks, which I didn't realize until way later. I don't think I give Love tusks. Sorry, Love. They also have this gland on their face that I totally put the Wikipedia page for Muntyak deers on the wrong screen. So I will just talk about her instead. So Love is a little bit older than Wire. I wouldn't say old, probably around 45. She has been a part of the resistance for a long time, and Wire is kind of trying to get her to mentor them, and she wants no part in that, especially because she started to take on, I guess, a quieter role in the revolution. She's kind of settling down and wanting to relax, and now there's this fucking kid following her around asking about the revolution, and she is sick of him.
Wire wants to become Tusk Trio.
You said trio again.
But Love is like, no. Or Tusk Duo.
Wire has a mostly blue color palette, and I picked a mostly green color palette for Love. I wanted them to be different enough since they're both deer, and I felt like the color palette was a pretty good way to separate them without making them look too crazily different.
Both complementary, but also very different, since they're both cooler colors.
And I'm so excited for the final piece, but first we have to do Ice's final piece.
And now we are on to my final drawing. One of the main inspirations for both of these characters was that one video I've seen of a monk climbing up a mountain and beating past all these tourists that were also trying to climb up the mountain to the temple. So I decided to draw these two doing the same, but in a more safe and easy manner. I guess my characters somewhat follow what Bee's was, in that they have a slight mentor-apprentice relationship, but they are also more of just friends as a duo. While Volius is more at peace and wanting to help people reach their spiritual enlightenment, or at least help people find peace and ease in life, and figure it out more and guide them on their way. Stupes is more excitable and free in wanting to, experience what there is to offer and enjoy nature and appreciate all that there is to see. You can kind of see that in the poses, and that Vullius is holding a lot of paperwork. I had planned for Vullius to fall into this specific rank or role, but because I don't know too much about Buddhism, I decided against it, as I didn't want to say or promote anything incorrect. I don't know everything, and I don't have the right to assign special roles to my characters if I don't know enough. Just get to watch epic struggles with line art.
Yeah, and cool stairs.
You'll see soon enough, but when it comes to backgrounds, I don't have a set method. I just kind of go for it. So you'll see that a lot with the background. I kind of just slap stuff at it until it looks okay enough. I don't really know if they are specifically set in the Shinto Buddhism world or something else. As I've said a lot already, they have very, very heavy inspirations from it, so it's kind of loose of where they are or what they're doing. I don't have as much as a concrete story or thought as B does.
That's very generous to me.
Well, you actually have thoughts for it. You have, ideas of what's going on and that there's a resistance and such. I just have these two. They're vibing. They're doing their own thing. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it.
That's a part of the cyberpunk theme. Like an integral part.
I don't always see it, but I don't know enough about cyberpunk to say the truth. But I say you at least have thoughts of what they're doing.
It's true.
The reason everything's red right now is because I'm doing carve-out shading, where I cover everything in one color and then I go through and carve out where the light hits, because I just thought it'd be fitting for the specific place I plan them to be in.
That's pretty cool. I usually do lighting after the background is done, though also I usually do the background before the characters too.
My process is kind of loose in what I do in order sometimes, so I can't really get an opinion on what I do there. Sometimes I do the background, sometimes I don't. It's very strange. And now you can see me struggle and mess with the background for a while. I went a little bit elaborate on it, but I had a specific place I want them to be in, which is they're climbing a mountain to go to a temple. So I tried to capture the feel of what that might be like.
Ooh, create a mountain brush.
I tried a lot of different brushes to try to get what it looks like. But it's kind of hard because I'm not the best at doing painting.
I didn't do a painting, if that makes you feel better.
It also helps that I covered up a lot of it with fog, so it's a little harder to see. If you don't like something, just cover it up. It's the artist creed.
You're really going on those stones.
I just thought it'd look better if I went a little bit harder on it, and I just found this brush and thought it looked nice. I just draw and then I erase until it looks okay enough and then move on. I thought if I didn't do anything it'd look a little too incomplete, so final steps of rendering where I blast colors on everything.
Colors! Gives it juice.
And a lot of flashing as I slap things on top that change it to a different layer type. And then the little eye shine, that's them climbing. They go.
Wow.
There they go.
They go. They climb.
Indeed.
They're so silly.
And now we're on to B's drawing.
Yeah.
So excited.
So as I mentioned during Ices, I usually start with the background. So I did a little quick see of how I wanted the perspective to basically be, and then I used Krita's wonderful perspective grid to sketch all of this out. Before I go in, I use the polygonal lasso tool to make my backgrounds. I just kind of discovered that one day and realized I really liked it, so that's how this whole background is made. And then I add the silhouettes of the Wire and Love. Wire is trying to get the attention of Love, and Love is walking away. Love is minding her own damn business, and Wire will not leave her alone. She's walking home, and Wire just wants her help and attention. And then I hid away the background to color them in because it would have been really confusing otherwise for me.
Very true.
And so I colored them in with their normal colors, and I realized that I forgot to put one of the colors on Love's reference sheet. Then I add a purple magenta-y multiply layer and erase from it, and then do a little bit of overlay, I think, with that magenta-y color for some extra highlights. I'm really happy with this, and I tried to lean into neon because I see that a lot in Cyberpunk, and I thought it was a good opportunity.
Looks really nice and really does sell the cyberpunk vibe.
Yeah, it does look cyberpunky. I also noticed that there are a lot of garage doors in Cyberpunk images, so there's a garage door here too.
Who knows why they need so many garage doors?
Yeah, I think they're like for shops maybe or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
That is all we have for you today. I'm staring at our recording, and hopefully it's not too long of a video for my sake as an editor. This was really cool. It was really fun to get entirely outshined by my best friend using a mouse instead of a drawing tablet.
I don't think I outshined you. I really like the designs you made, and the colors are so beautiful, and the vibes are so on point.
You definitely outshined me. Anyway, we both hope that you enjoyed this video, and keep on arting. We're beautiful peoples.